Ever ordered takeout just so you wouldn't have to cook?
Yeah,
Well, imagine getting that same level of convenience, but with something as complex as a network service.
right.
That's the dream that Hatif,
Yeah.
a major player in the Libyan telecom scene,
Hmm.
is chasing with their ambitious zero-touch strategy.
Ambitious. This.
We're diving deep into their internal documents and meeting notes to see if they can really pull it off.
Yeah, this is fascinating stuff.
Yeah. What do you think is the most interesting thing about this whole project?
Well, the context is really intriguing. Hatif's got a comfortable monopoly right now, but big changes are coming to Libyan telecom. Fiber optic access is taking off,
Oh, okay.
which means more competition,
Right.
especially as Hatif's reliance on government-owned entities within the LPTIC group
Yeah.
is expected to shrink.
So they're facing a double whammy.
Yeah.
A shrinking safety net and a wave of new competitors. No wonder they're looking for a game changer.
Exactly. And that's where zero touch comes in. Imagine a future where you as a Hatif customer
Yeah.
can order a sophisticated network service as easily as ordering food online.
Wow.
You could track its progress, maybe even manage certain aspects yourself, all without a single phone call to customer support. That's the vision they're aiming for.
That sounds amazing from a customer perspective.
Right?
But what does the zero-touch dream actually mean on a technical level? Are we talking robots laying cables here?
Not quite robots, but close. Think software-defined everything.
Okay.
Imagine software automatically configuring network settings, spinning up new services on demand,
Wow.
and even troubleshooting issues, all with minimal human intervention.
So does everything.
Well, the goal is to get as close to that as possible.
Yeah.
For Hatif, this could mean implementing technologies like network function virtualization
Okay.
and software-defined networking to make their infrastructure more flexible and automated.
It sounds incredibly complex, almost like rebuilding a plane while it's still in the air.
It's a massive undertaking, no doubt. But it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about transforming Hatif's entire organizational structure.
Okay.
They'll need new teams with specialized skills, a more agile and adaptable culture, and a completely new approach to network services.
So before we even get to the how, it sounds like Hatif needs a major internal shakeup.
It's a pretty radical shift.
Now, you've brought some fascinating case studies to light examples of other companies that have attempted this kind of automation journey. What can Hatif learn from their successes and, more importantly, their failures?
Let's start with Rakuten, a Japanese company that serves as a potential model.
Okay.
They went all in on automation, completely overhauling their operations. One of their key moves was open sourcing components of their automation platform.
Interesting. So they made parts of it public.
Exactly.
Okay.
This not only sped up their development process by leveraging a global community of developers,
Well, that's clever.
but also helped them attract top talent in the competitive tech industry.
So instead of building everything from scratch, Rakuten tapped into the power of the crowd.
Precisely.
Did any companies closer to home for Hatif, perhaps in the African market, make similar strides?
Absolutely. OpenServe, the wholesale arm of Telkom in South Africa, offers a great example of a successful customer-centric approach. They've focused on digitizing their customer experience,
Okay.
making it easier for customers to order, manage, and pay for services online
Right.
by prioritizing those customer-facing aspects of automation.
Yeah.
OpenServe saw a significant increase in customer satisfaction and a reduction in operational costs.
So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
It sounds like they started with the why, improving the customer experience, and then figured out the how with technology.
Yeah, they really focused on the customer journey from the beginning.
Were there any cautionary tales companies that hit major roadblocks while trying to implement automation?
Definitely. City Fiber in the UK and Lightstorm in India highlight the importance of careful planning and infrastructure assessment. They encountered significant challenges when trying to scale their automation efforts because their existing systems and processes weren't designed to handle the increased complexity.
So a bit like trying to run a high-speed train on tracks designed for a much slower locomotive.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
What specific lessons could Hatif take away from those stumbles?
It underscores the need for Hatif to thoroughly evaluate their current infrastructure and identify potential bottlenecks before rolling out widespread automation.
Okay.
They need to ask themselves, can our current systems handle this new reality? Or do we need to invest in upgrading them before we even start?
Right.
It might even require considering a phased approach, automating certain areas first while upgrading others.
So don't just dive headfirst into the deep end without checking the depth of the pool first.
Exactly. test the waters first.
Speaking of diving in, you mentioned a rather intriguing,
Yeah.
if unconventional strategy called a reverse takeover.
Right.
What's that all about?
It is unconventional. Console Connect, a global network provider, wanted to become more tech-focused.
Okay.
So they acquired a software company and integrated their technology and expertise into their own operations. It was essentially a reverse takeover, giving them a fast track to acquiring the skills and technology they needed.
So instead of building in-house, they went shopping for a company that already had the goods.
Right.
That's a bold move. Did the documents mention any potential downsides to that approach?
It certainly comes with its own set of challenges. Integrating different company cultures, systems, and processes can be incredibly complex.
Right.
For Console Connect, it required a significant investment of time and resources to ensure a smooth transition.
And for Hatif, that could mean navigating the complexities of mergers and acquisitions within the Libyan market, which might come with its own set of regulatory and cultural hurdles.
Absolutely. It's not a decision to be taken lightly. However, the Console Connect case highlights that sometimes the fastest way to innovate is to bring in external expertise, even if it means shaking things up a bit.
It's like learning a new language. You could spend years studying on your own, or you could immerse yourself in a culture where everyone's already speaking it fluently.
Yeah.
But before Hatif even considers a reverse takeover, it seems like they need to take a good hard look in the mirror. One thing that struck me from these notes is just how much manual effort goes into delivering their network services today.
It's remarkable. Spreadsheets, phone calls, technicians driving around in vans. It's a very labor-intensive process.
Wow.
And that's exactly what Hatif aims to change with Zero Touch. Imagine their customers being able to order a service, track its progress, and even troubleshoot basic issues, all through a user-friendly online portal. All without Hatif lifting a finger, or at least a manual finger.
From stone tablets to touch screens, that's quite a leap.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. In a world where we can order groceries with a few taps on our phones, the old way of doing things just seems archaic.
And often inefficient. This isn't just about embracing shiny new tech, it's about fundamentally changing how Hatif operates to become more agile and responsive to customer needs.
And it seems like those customer needs are changing too. I noticed Hatif's plans involve attracting a wider customer base. They're not just focused on those large government-linked companies anymore, are they?
You're right. Hatif's looking to expand their reach to private ISPs, large enterprises, and even those hyperscale cloud providers we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
These are companies like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft that need massive amounts of computing power and network capacity to support their global operations.
It's a whole different ballgame in terms of the speed, flexibility, and scale of service they'll be demanding.
Exactly. These customers are on the cutting edge of technology, and they expect their service providers to be just as sophisticated.
Right.
For Hatif, this means adopting a more customer-centric approach and designing systems that are not only automated, but also flexible and scalable enough to meet the demands of these tech-savvy clients.
So Zero Touch isn't just a way to cut costs. It's a way for Hatif to stay relevant and competitive in a rapidly evolving market.
It's about survival.
But what does that look like in practical terms? If I'm Hatif's CEO, where do I even begin this transformation?
Well, the documents suggest a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
First and foremost, a comprehensive assessment of their current operations is crucial.
Oh.
They need to pinpoint the bottlenecks, identify where manual processes are creating drag, and determine which areas would benefit most from automation. Think of it like a doctor diagnosing a patient before prescribing treatment.
So don't just automate for the sake of automation. Be strategic about it.
Precisely. Then Hatif needs to carefully evaluate the available technologies. There's a whole universe of tools and platforms out there, from network function virtualization to robotic process automation.
Wow.
Choosing the right ones will be key to their success.
It sounds like they'll need a dedicated team of experts, people who not only understand the technology, but also Hatif's specific needs and challenges within the Libyan market.
You're spot on.
Wow.
And it can't be just a tech team working in isolation.
Right.
This transformation requires collaboration across departments.
Yeah.
Engineering, IT, customer service, marketing. Everyone needs to be on board and working together.
It's like a symphony orchestra. Everyone has their part to play, and it only works when they're all in sync.
A perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And just as important as the what and the how is the why. Hatif's leadership needs to clearly articulate the benefits of this transformation to their employees, painting a compelling picture of a more efficient, customer-centric future.
Get everyone excited about the destination. Now, we've talked about some big, potentially expensive changes. Are there ways for Hatif to dip their toes into the water before diving headfirst into this automation ocean?
That's where the concept of a minimum viable product, or MVP, comes in.
Okay.
Gigapower, a US-based company we studied, didn't try to automate everything at once.
Right.
They started with a small, manageable project, something that would demonstrate the value of automation quickly and effectively.
So, a proof of concept, a way to show tangible results and build momentum. Did their approach yield any valuable insights?
Definitely. By focusing on a specific high-impact area, Gigapower was able to achieve early wins, which helped them secure buy-in from stakeholders for larger investments down the line.
It's like the old saying, show, don't tell. But it's not just about proving the technology works. It's about making sure the human element isn't lost in the automation shuffle, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Woodensurf's success in South Africa really highlights this. They didn't just focus on automating processes.
Right.
They focused on automating good customer experiences.
So it's not about replacing human interaction entirely, but rather making those interactions more meaningful by eliminating the frustrating time-consuming stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine a scenario where, as a Hatif customer, you can manage your network services through a sleek, intuitive online portal. Need to upgrade your bandwidth?
Yeah.
No problem. Troubleshooting a connectivity issue?
Right.
They can have AI-powered chatbots that guide you through simple solutions. It's about creating a seamless, user-friendly experience that makes customers feel empowered, not abandoned by the automation.
It's amazing to think how far things have come, but this shift towards a more customer-centric, digitally driven model,
Yep.
it feels like a huge cultural shift, especially for a company that's been traditionally engineering-driven like Hatif.
It's a valid concern. One of the recurring themes in these documents is the need for Hatif to foster a company culture that embraces this change. It's about getting everyone from engineers to customer service reps excited about the potential of automation and its impact on Hatif's future.
It's about getting everyone to see this as an opportunity, not a threat.
Precisely. And to do that, they need to be very transparent about their vision for the future. Communicate the why behind this transformation. Better customer experiences, increased efficiency, and ultimately a stronger, more competitive Hatif.
Paint that picture of a brighter future for everyone. But even with the best intentions and a clear vision, there are bound to be bumps in the road.
Yeah.
What are some of the potential challenges that could derail Hatif's automation journey?
One of the most significant hurdles for incumbent telecom operators like Hatif is their legacy infrastructure. They've often got a tangled web of outdated systems that weren't designed for the demands of a fully automated, software-defined world.
So it's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. They might need to do some serious renovations before they can even start decorating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can be a costly and complex endeavor. It might require phasing out old systems, potentially disrupting existing services, all while implementing new technologies and training staff.
And let's not forget the human element. Change can be unsettling, especially in a large organization.
You're absolutely right. Hatif needs to be prepared for potential resistance to change. Some employees might worry about their jobs being automated, while others might struggle to adapt to new ways of working.
So it's not just about upgrading their technology, it's about upgrading their thinking as well.
Precisely. Hatif needs to invest in robust training and development programs to equip their employees with the skills they need to thrive in this new environment. And perhaps even more importantly, they need to clearly communicate how these changes will benefit them personally.
Show them that this isn't just about Hatif becoming a more automated company, but about Hatif becoming a company where its employees can do more interesting, fulfilling work.
Exactly. And that brings us to another potential challenge: access to skilled talent. The world of automation is evolving rapidly, and finding people with the right expertise can be difficult, especially within Libya. Hatif might need to think outside the box, perhaps partnering with universities or creating apprenticeship programs to cultivate local talent.
It seems like every challenge we've uncovered circles back to the same theme. Hatif's ability to adapt, to evolve, to embrace a completely new way of operating. Now, before we wrap up, you mentioned some aha moments that stood out to you while going through these documents. What were some of those key insights?
For me, one of the biggest takeaways was realizing just how much untapped potential there is for automation to improve our lives, even in something as seemingly mundane as telecom. We've only scratched the surface of what's possible with these technologies.
It's exciting to think about how this could transform not just Hatif, but the entire industry.
Absolutely. And another key insight was the importance of data. Automation is only as good as the data it's fed. For Hatif to truly succeed, they'll need to invest heavily in building a robust data strategy, collecting the right information, analyzing it effectively, and using it to make intelligent decisions about their network operations.
So it's about becoming